Oh my gosh, it works. Perfect. It's up.
Hold on. Let's test. You there, Jenny?
I'm here. I got the full setup. So, welcome. This is Artist of the Goods podcast, hosted by me, Johnny Walker Art. Today, I'm interviewing a good friend of mine. Can you hear me? Dave Pickup. Am I coming through?
I can't really hear you. Let me. I got my volume all the way up, but I can't really hear you.
Hold on. Now, can you hear me? Perfect. Okay, it was my mic. I got the full setup. I'm ready to go. Like I said, this is Artist of the Goods podcast, hosted by me, Johnny Walker Art. I'm here interviewing my good friend Dave Pickup, also known as CitySlicker.
Howdy.
It's nice to see you again.
Likewise, brother. Good to see your face.
Yes, I'm glad this is working. So the cool thing is, like, I wanted to do this podcast and kind of this video, just to give people a chance to experience what we all have in this art world, and how we all kind of met, and learn from one another. I was really excited because I wanted you to be the first one that I talked to.
That's awesome.
For me, it wouldn't, you kind of got me started in this, a little background so everybody else knows. I started talking to Dave probably 2013, 2014, on Facebook. When you had a Facebook, Dave.
Yep.
And it was around that time. I think you came out with a character too. At that time, Tommy.
Pink Can Tommy, yes.
Pink Can Tommy. You just came out you were just coming out with that Pink Can Tommy at that time.
Yes.
I was just starting to get interested in sign painting, pinstriping, and you were answering every question that I had. Fast forward to a couple years ago, where I actually got to meet you in Kentucky at Brushmasters. So,
of all places in the world.
Exactly. But just kind of want to go over a little bit about you, of course.
Sure.
If you want to talk about where you're from, how you got started, a little bit of where you're at now.
So I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Born and raised. Spent 29 years there before I migrated to the wonderful United States of America. I met my wife. We met on Instagram years ago, just as friends, and through conversation and just liking each other's artwork and having so much in common, we became friends, and then over time developed a relationship, and now I call sunny San Luis Obispo, California, home. As far as painting goes, so I grew up in a fairly blue-collar family. My mom has always been kind of artsy in the sense of she did a lot of needlepoint and kind of mom things, cross stitch and stuff like that growing up. But I was never really around any real artists, especially like with what I do now with sign painting, pinstriping, lowbrow weirdos and stuff. What got me into it, of all things, was we used to do long road trips to go see my grandparents a couple times a year. They lived in the middle of nowhere, northern Ontario, Canada, a little town called Hearst. It's like 10 and a half, 11 hours north of Toronto, where I'm from. And so when we used to do these long road trips all the time, even, as a little kid, I'd see these, at the time, not really knowing what it was that I was looking at or what I liked. But, I used to see those big long haul Peterbilts and Kenworths and Freightliners and stuff. You'd see these logging trucks just blasting up Highway 1 or Highway 11, sorry, I should say. And, I'd always notice these weird little swirly doodad
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Didn't know what
yeah.
to call them. Had nothing. Just I'd see these things on these trucks,
Hmm.
and I'd always think, man, I don't know what that is, but it's badass and it speaks to me. And this is even as a little kid. And then obviously as I got older, I started to kind of pay attention to it a little bit more. And then eventually I figured out that it was an actual art form called pinstriping. So I started kind of looking around, trying to figure out a way that I could, how do I do this? I want to learn how to do this. This seems super cool. And it's not something I've ever seen in a book before. And again, not coming from a hot rod family or, an artist family, it was just so foreign
Hmm.
to me. And then I ended up getting a couple just Michael's brand cheap small paintbrushes, and I think I used some Tester's paint or something. And I attempted to try to do what I thought was pinstriping, and learned very quickly that okay, so one, whatever kind of paint these people are using is obviously some special paint, because I'd be trying to paint a little
Uh,
line, I'd get maybe 3/4 of an
uh,
inch, run out of paint, realize okay, this is not the right thing. This is before cell phones, and I guess the internet was around, but I wasn't really using it.
uh,
And I don't even know what it was or where it was. I figured out that it was actually, there was a name, that it was called pinstriping.
hmm.
And then once I figured out the name, then I kind of knew something to look for. So I started doing a little bit more research, and then I ended up finding out this paint called One Shot and these brushes called Mac brushes. And I went out to an art store on the other side of Toronto, sat in traffic for like 2.5 hours just to get there, all excited to
Oh,
buy some paint and buy a paintbrush that might do what I'm hoping it'll do. And then got home, cracked the can open, started painting immediately, realized I suck. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I didn't even realize I had any direction. I'm like, okay, well, whatever I'm doing here is clearly not like what I'm seeing on these big rigs. So, but I didn't stop. I just kept going. I just kept doing it. And just kept trying to paint stupid shit. And then, I started noticing that I could see it here and there in different, motorcycle magazines and car magazines and such. And so I just slowly started to try to just emulate what I saw. And then, I put the brushes down a few times here and there over the years, just out of frustration and not having any real goal or guidance, not knowing, what I'd potentially do with it. So, and then I got Instagram,
oh
and
yeah.
that was when a lot of things actually really changed for me, because uh, it was years ago that I first got Instagram. And um, I remember when I stepped to it, I was always told, or I believe, that Instagram was just for artists only. Like at this
Hmm.
point,
Yeah.
there was no hoes running around shaking their asses all over Instagram, or any, all of the other stuff that
Uh,
Instagram is encompassed now. But it was all just tattoos and painters and stuff. And so, and also at the time, I remember, I can't remember what the name of the page was, but there was this weird tone then on Instagram where if you got caught copying someone, it didn't matter what it was.
uh,
If you were a tattoo artist and you copied someone else's idea or whatever, you would get just belittled. People would post you on certain pages and stuff. So I always told myself, I'm like, doesn't matter what I'm going to post on this little art page of mine, but
mhm,
it's always going to be my own things. I'm not going to copy people. I'm not going to try to imitate stuff. I'm just going to, I mean, even if I take influence from people, but I'm
mhm.
still going to try to always do my own thing. And I just did. And over time, just from uh, meeting more people on social media and then actually putting faces to those names in real life, it's incredible, like yourself included, the amount of
It's
real
like
time, real life friends I've
it,
gained through this
through
whole art thing.
exactly through social media.
It's unbelievable.
How long do you think it took you to take off from? I mean, Facebook, Instagram.
Well, so with when I had Facebook, again, that was probably around I think I was still tattooing when I had Facebook. But I remember I got so tired of going on that, because everybody was always asking me if I want to donate to their Farmville.
Uh, yeah.
Do you want, hey, Dave, can you sponsor me so I can grow more carrots
uh,
in my virtual garden? And then just seeing the day to day, just the gripes that everybody would have. it just was, it was almost depressing. Like, you're like, does anyone have anything positive to say?
Is that when you once you got off of Facebook, you went? Did you go right to Instagram and then
Yeah,
it kind
well,
of blew
so,
up
no,
after
so
that?
I still had, I had Facebook, and then someone had told me of Instagram, so I made myself an
Uh,
Instagram page, and then I'd say within a month, 2 months of me having Instagram, that's when I axed my
the
Facebook, because
face.
I realized, I'm like, this is what I want to see. I want to see artwork. I want to see photos of, even if it's friends, kids, whatever it is.
Mhm.
I want to see the thing, and then have the option to read the little blurb that they've written underneath, instead of the opposite on Facebook, where it's just you're scrolling for an hour through someone's telling you how horrible their morning was.
Well, you
And
and this led to you like actually going to some big shows, right? Like hot rod shows out in California.
yeah, I Gina and I, my wife, we started just going to shows, just to spectate, just to,
Hmm.
and a couple different shows that we went. One of the big shows, one of the real actual changers for me was, we were at Born Free. Was it 9 or 10? Anyways, and a mutual other friend of mine, Joshua Jeanette, shout out to JG Experience on Instagram. Joshua is a wonderful human being, is just like you, is now turned into a great friend of mine. He had a booth vending at Born Free. Him and I had kind of talked back and forth over the years, but
Hmm.
that was still when I was in Canada and he was in California. So Gina and I were walking through the show, and then we see him, and he has his booth set up. His wife and kids were there, and they're kind of hanging out. And I kind of got starstruck. I was like, holy shit, it's
Uh,
Joshua. And then I ran up, gave the guy a big bear hug. Obviously, this is
mhm.
pre-COVID. And him and I, we just, once we actually shook hands in person, and we're now real life friends, um, he actually invited me and Gina to join him, and split booth here and there for a
Uh,
couple shows. And yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want to put it on him like that he took us under his wing, but
mhm.
he absolutely 100%, I'll give him credit for kind of opening that door for us.
That's one thing
And
I've noticed about like in this I could say career field,
mhm,
uh, how nice everybody is, and all you got to do is ask. And that's one thing I think everybody can say. Like you have been nothing but helpful to people that are you're always like people who are just willing to ask questions. You have went out your way to help them, show them, demonstrate to pass this on because it's this kind of stuff. If no one's passing it on, it's gonna die. And I
oh
think
yeah,
when
I
we were
agree
younger,
wholeheartedly.
we didn't like no one knew who did these things. I mean, you kind of maybe saw some like you said hot rod magazines or whatever, but these are big guys, and you don't. I mean, of course, before pre Facebook and Instagram, you
For
didn't. There
sure.
was no way to contact these people. Uh, and where I grew up, no one was doing this. So it's not until like Instagram and stuff like that, it's making people accessible.
Yep.
But you've always answered questions. You've always been willing to help people. And what because some people we talk to aren't, some people are like, oh, it's secret.
Oh
We
yeah,
don't want to share.
absolutely.
What has what has led you to be, humble about this?
Well, one thing, so skipping back to when I was, still like the Canadian kid, just trying to learn in my garage
Hmm.
all winter long, all summer long. Um, Anytime I ever reached out to older guys, I was basically just, I had doors just slam in my face,
Hmm.
figuratively speaking. And I just always thought that, I'm like, man, like what a what a interesting kind of complex that this niche art form has. Similar, I mean, obviously tattooing, I'll compare it to the way tattooing was, like, let's say years ago, in the sense where it
Yeah.
was really, really in the closet, really
Hmm.
like a lot of taboo around it, a lot of mystery around it. And I've never understood the idea that, not with all, because there's some fantastic senior painters to you or I, out there that are just wealth of knowledge, and
Hmm.
that are willing to share that knowledge with anyone.
Definitely.
but I've never understood the idea that in one breath you'll hear some of the older generation where they'll be upset that the trade is dying or has gone through decades worth of lulls and slow periods as a trade in a whole. Sure, certain
Hmm.
specific geographical towns and cities, there's sign painters that have probably never slowed down,
Hmm.
or pinstripers, that just they have their game on lock and everyone knows them and they've been around forever. So they're just that work is just steadily coming.
Hmm.
But as a whole, you know, obviously things like vinyl becoming a thing that didn't do much
Yeah.
help for anyone. But there's a lot of older guys out there that just, like I said, on one hand they complain that the trade is dying, but then on the other hand, when someone says, well,
Hmm.
hey, could you show me what to do, or and then, oh, I don't take on apprentices, like figure it out yourself, kid.
Hmm.
And okay. And I always thought that was so strange. I'm like, well, I mean, if you don't want this trade to die, if you want this to flourish, don't you need to pass on the wealth of knowledge that
Hmm.
you have in your head? And so um but having people shut the door on me and just ignore me and not answer my questions and stuff, I just took it as like, okay, like, I mean, if you're choosing not to tell me, that's your choice, but that's not going
Yeah.
to stop
You
me
just go
from,
find how to,
it's not going
find
to
out
stop me in
somewhere
my
else.
quest for
Yeah.
knowledge, right? And then so over the years, anyone who ever asked me anything, because I don't think I'm better than anyone, don't think, I think the only thing that I do have that maybe some people don't is that I do have a drive. Like when I want to hit that
Hmm.
go button when show season starts, or
Uh-huh.
I'll go, like I get busy with it like anyone does. So and I mean, for each and every one of us, nobody can take away anything from us. So, for example, years ago when you hit me up on Facebook, I was no senior to
Hmm.
you in the paint world. I mean, maybe a little bit, but nothing. I'm no pro, and so I just thought, I'm like, okay, well, this guy's taking a moment to ask me something because he
Hmm.
sees something in me that he feels he could potentially learn from. So I have two avenues. I could either answer him,
Yeah. Or.
just answer him, and what he does with that information is up to him.
Hmm.
It's not by me telling you something or sharing something that I've trial and error learned over the years. It's not all of a sudden, once I've told you, I don't forget it. It's not like it's no longer my knowledge.
And that's the other
So,
thing. Like, one, you've been humble. You've always helped people. Two, you have always been real with people. And you know, we talk we talk
oh
also,
yeah,
but you're honest. Um and I think that goes that goes a long way. And it's gonna I think it drives people towards you. I've seen you put out a video. You know your cutouts. I know you push a lot of cutouts, and you put a lot of detail in your cutouts. It's not just a solid. Um, there's depth and dimension into your cutouts. It's not just a solid piece. Um, but like I actually have one right here sitting next to me.
mm-hmm.
Um, this one right here,
Little eyeballs, yeah.
where you did your video, how you demonstrated on how to seal the edges, and I
Mm-hmm.
reached out to you also about that. Like, I went out and bought the caulking, everything, how to actually seal the edges on these so they're not getting trashed in the weather. It makes them
Mm-hmm.
nice and smooth. They look a lot better, more presentable. Um,
More
just
paintable,
more, yeah. And that's kind of like what I wanted to do with this. Give people opportunity to learn from everybody that they might not think is so accessible. But also reach out through this or social media and see what. Hey, I'm be talking to. Oh, I'm talking to Dave. What do you want to know? That
right?
kind of thing. We did this one pretty quick, so there'll be another one. Don't worry. But
Oh,
there's a lot of things like things that you do. We've talked before, like your brushes. You hot rod your brushes. You know, some people cut. They'll cut the hairs down or
mm-hmm.
whatever. You go even further. I don't even like this is just a regular brush. You go even further where you take down an actual piece of the brush.
Oh
Correct?
yeah.
Like
I've always, for that stuff, I just look at it. I figure, okay, well, so certain brushes, I mean, every brush is going to have its use. I'm still learning all kinds of different
Mhm.
brushes, but there's a few detail brushes that I use, made by Gerald Tidwell. Um, Shout out to Gerald. He's a wonderful human, one of the greatest dudes out there in the art world, that's for sure. I use a lot of his brushes, and just for me and the way I paint, when I'm a lot of times if I'm doing detail work, especially if it's in a monster, or if I'm doing a car painting or something, a motorcycle or whatever,
Mhm.
I really like to geek out on some of those simple details. And so I usually, it's definitely probably not advised to be so close to the work that you're doing just
Uh-huh.
for one's eyesight, but sometimes I get really close to my work and I like to be over top of it. And sometimes just holding a longer brush, it's like hitting me in the face as
Gets in the
I'm
way.
sitting there, so a couple times, I think it was out of frustration, the first time I ever hacked a brush in
Uh-huh.
half, and then I just realized that I'm like, man, this is so much better. I can get in tight spaces with it
Uh-huh.
here and there. And so, yeah, I do that with I don't do that with any of my lettering brushes, but detail brushes, some of them I'll chop them right down so they're almost the size of like a pinstriping brush's
Okay.
handle. But
And I know one thing I've I've been wanting to bring up, and I want to see. I'm like curious if you're going to bring it back. Um, 'Cause you see it. I see it around. I see some people have it, and I know it started with you,
mhm.
the local 13.
Yes, that's an interesting one because so years ago, again, around the time that I got Instagram, uh, I had just, so I did that drawing initially. I was just trying to come up with an idea for just a new business card for
Mhm.
myself. And I've always been a fan of, and I used to imply this with tattooing and a lot of things. I've always been a fan of like less can be more, or less is
Mhm.
more. Simple, try to make things clean, legible, direct. And I used to really like a lot of just those union logos,
Mhm.
various, trades worker stuff, because I've been in trades a long time. So I always admired some of those simple, like an electrician's logo that was designed in the 40s or the
Mhm.
50s or whatever. And so I just kind of doodled this little drawing for myself. And then a couple of my pinstriping buddies on Instagram at the time, I posted the photo, and then they hit me up and they said, dude, that's pretty badass, simple
Mhm.
little design. Would you be okay with potentially removing your specific name from that logo and then inserting my pinstriping handle? And then I thought, shit, I mean, sure, it's just a drawing. I was going to just make this a business card,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, yeah, I don't mind, no problem. So I did that for probably two or three friends, four friends, and then a couple more guys hit me up saying, hey, I saw this gentleman or lady have this logo, and how do I get one? And then I think, I mean, shit, you
I
just have
think
to ask. It's
it's
not
kind of
really.
cool to see. I've seen throughout the last couple years, more and more people are using it,
Yeah,
and
it's
they
it's
don't.
definitely.
And I don't think they know. Like it's kind of cool. Like it came from you, and it's something that's caught on. You'll see painters and stuff. You'll see it on their paint boxes, or
Hmm, hmm.
of course tattooed. That's the big thing. But I'm starting to see it now. Like you'll see in the background of people's photos, and
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's
caught
a
on.
trip.
And I don't think a lot of people know that it originated with you.
It's definitely a trip. Kind of to digress a little bit to your initial question. I still, shit. I've got a I mean, it's most of it's worn off, but I've
Uh,
got it tattooed on the palm of my hand, and I still want to make it for people, and if anyone's interested in it. But
uh,
I lost a bit of my steam on it because every time I made one of those logos for someone, I was just making it to like, I guess once beyond the first, let's say, five or six of them that
uh,
I made, um, when people would hit me up for them, it was interesting because let's say 10 people would hit me up. 9 people would be genuinely like stoked on it, and they'd be
Uh-huh.
inquiring like, hey, how do I get one? Like, do you think you could make me one? If and then I would have of course there's always the one rotten, like I'd have someone hit me up and ask me like how much, and I'd say
Uh-huh.
like I don't sell these. They'd say, well,
Yeah.
how much to get one? I'd be like, I make these if for nothing else, I'm making these for camaraderie. I'm
Uh-huh.
making these for friendship because I like having friends, and I would rather be cool with someone than not.
Uh-huh.
And in the paint world, if I could be friends with everyone, I would be. Again, there's people that
Well, it's kind of
probably
cool. You'll see it. I mean, if you like, of course, on Instagram, social media, you'll see it tattooed on people. They're
yeah,
painting or whatever, and it's like if you know
it's
what you're looking
crazy.
for, yeah, you'll see it, and it's pretty cool to see that mark. I think it's getting more popular, especially
It's
when we were at Brushmasters,
mhm.
and you start looking around and you start seeing you're seeing your mark everywhere.
Yeah, and I think holy shit, like
Yeah.
it's definitely it's definitely one of those things to like kind of put things in check. Like um, again, there was a couple people that asked me to make them logos, and maybe it was the way that I interpreted the way they were asking me, but they treated me as though I think I'm a rock star because of it. And I was like, you obviously don't.
Hmm.
I don't think you know me because anyone that knows me, like, it was strictly for fun, to make friends and have something. Uh, One thing I did notice, like a couple years back, when kind of I don't want to say in the height of it, but when fairly regularly someone would be asking me for it, I thought it was really cool to also see the other connections, because numerous different friends would tell me, they'd say, hey, I didn't even know such and such down south, that I don't know, in the Carolinas or
Uh-huh.
wherever, down in Louisiana, that's painting. I didn't even know that you were friends with them, but I saw that they had that logo, and then I
Yeah.
reached out to them, and now we correspond, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
it's amazing. Like, even like if I'm stepping back from it, just to see that little logo of a couple crossing paintbrushes has just brought so many people together.
Yeah.
Like,
It.
I think
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's why I see what I'm going, and I think the same thing. Like, wait, I was like, oh man, they know Dave, like they, and that's the instant thing that I'm like, oh man, you know, how many people you've met doing this?
Oh, it's great. It's wild. Like, since just getting involved in the art world, like you said earlier, the amount of just incredible humans, like you see, especially with some of the climates going on right now, with all the politics and stuff. Like, so many people are going to be
Mm.
so set in their ways with every other aspect of life that they can't budge on it. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
can't free themselves from feeling one way or the other on
Yeah,
so many things. You just stop talking about stuff like that to people, and you start talking to them about artwork.
and yeah,
It's totally different, man. You
exactly.
connect with people in a different way, that, like, like, I know some hard human beings that in every other aspect of their life, they're rigid. They're not budging on anything. You start talking to them about drawing a rose, or
Uh,
taking a ballpoint pen and sketching out like a beautiful name or something like that, and then it just you see the veils lift on people.
now,
Takes them back to their childhood, makes them
now the
feel like because it's vulnerable for anyone, right? Putting a piece of
now,
yourself on paper, or on a car, or on someone's skin, that's it's a pretty personal thing for the artist.
and I think it puts us at a, you know, kind of at the same level. Like people can see eye to eye,
Yeah,
and put, like you said, put all that stuff to the side,
it's great.
and be able to have a good time.
You have, like, I mean, look at all the Brushmaster events that you go the first day of the 4 or 5 day events, especially with, I mean, if it's not a returning, like a reunion for all of us,
Yeah.
when you see these people where the first day they get to these events, and they're kind of in their corner, or they're
Yeah.
they're stuck in their
You're like the new kid at school.
yeah, they're stuck in
Yeah.
their chair. Yeah, exactly. They're just like the new kid in school. But then by the third day, towards the end of the events, like, nobody wants to go to bed. Everyone's like, let's
No,
paint till 6 o'clock in the morning,
that's why I loved it.
take a
Like
little cat nap, and then let's
yeah,
get back
and
at it.
everybody stayed up all night painting. It was just
Yeah.
it was it was amazing, and the friendships that you know that we made
Oh,
there, you know, the
it's
people that we get to
paramount.
meet.
That's, I mean,
Yeah,
people that'll just, friends that you'll have for the rest of your life.
yeah. Well,
It's so
now
cool. It's artwork is,
you talked about tattooing,
yeah.
and I want to talk a little bit about that because I know we've talked about, you know, you were thinking about coming back and tattooing again, just like how you got started, because everybody has a cool like how they got started tattoo story,
Hmm.
and you know, for me, I did a, you know, a different type of apprenticeship. I don't know if people really do those any like, you know, building like making your own needles with a jig, all that, you know,
Yep.
scrubbing tubes,
Scrubbing
like the dirty,
tubes.
yeah, all the dirty work. Uh, and I like hearing those stories of like people, you know, you have to start at the bottom kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, so when I started tattooing, um oddly enough, because as I had said earlier, that I kind of stopped and started pinstriping a few times while I was like still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had pinstriped the rear, like a little cowl piece on, who later on became my mentor, boss for tattooing. Um, I pinstriped some pieces on his Triumph, and then when I was finished, and I was so embarrassed with the work that I did, because to me, seeing the other stuff that I'd see with pinstriping, I was like, fuck, this is terrible. But he was happy with it. He loved it. And I remember I was the one day I was delivering a few parts to him, and it was weird the way he sprung it on me, because he just said, hey, Dave, obviously you get tattooed by me all the time, and I know you love tattoos. And have you ever thought of tattooing? And I had absolutely 100% thought of tattooing
Uh-huh.
countless times, but I had never thought of it in a realistic way. I just, like so many people, oh man, it'd be crazy to be a tattooer. It'd be cool to do that. What a job that is. Like, way to screw off life and just doodle on people. That'd be amazing. But I never thought of anything into it seriously. And then he asked me, he said, well, have you ever thought of tattooing? And I was like, of course I have. And he said, well, do you want a tattoo? And then I kind of took it as like, are you inviting me into this,
Yeah.
crazy, mysterious world of body art? And I was like, I figured, saying no is just, I try not to say no to too many things in life, because you're just closing doors on
Uh-huh.
yourself. So I said, yeah, I'd love to learn. And then he did the whole, okay, next Saturday, because I still had a full-time job. So
Uh-huh.
he's like, next Saturday, just come down to the shop and just be ready to learn. Okay. And so I just went down, and the first while was just typical, kind of sit around and watch and change garbage, and learn how to break down a tattooer's station after they're finished the tattoo, and basically bring their station back up to par so it's ready for next tattoo, and
Mm-hmm.
um, just be a grunt. And yeah, I did that for a while, and then my boss bought me, what was the name of the machine? It was funny because the machine itself, it came unassembled, and the box that it came in resembled that of like a model car, like a monster.
Oh, no way.
What the heck? That's gonna bug me now.
What did it? Was it? It wasn't a Huck Spalding, was it?
No, it wasn't a Spalding. Was it an Icon? Shoot. Anyways, but it was just this funny machine. Turned out, once we built it and everything, it wasn't the greatest machine ever. It didn't throw very hard,
Uh-huh.
but just the idea of learning to physically take something, and even though I wasn't really soldering anything together, just helped me at least figure out,
How it
it's like,
works.
yeah, how it works. Okay,
Yeah.
there's this part and this part, there's springs and the coils, and okay. And so we built that, and then he had me start doing needles, and scrubbing tubes and all that shit, and learn how to run an autoclave. And then I think I tattooed a few pieces of like pigskin and stuff. And then he was kind of under the mindset that he's like, that sure, you can sit there and tattoo pigskin for the rest of your life if you
Uh-huh.
want, but until you actually, get busy with it and tattoo someone's skin, you're just playing in the mud. So I started tattooing myself, did few
Oh,
tattoos, on my thighs.
yes.
And
My first one I did on myself. I was I was nervous. I was
oh
so
yeah,
nervous. I was sweating. I stripped down to my boxers. I was so
nice.
hot, and I would get ready, and I'd go. I was on my thigh, and I'd get it real close to my leg, and my hand would start doing this. My hand would start shaking, and I'd stop. It took me 30 minutes to go from like here, like up top, like from my shoulder,
Hmm.
and actually and put the needle into my thigh. It was about a 30-minute go around. I was so nervous, but after that, I mean, it was
Smooth
same thing.
sailing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first couple times I tattooed myself, just looking over at everyone else in the shop, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this?
yeah.
Like, I mean, this isn't. It's not like I mean, if you're having me do this to like get over the self, you know, just to get over myself and the idea of like putting yourself through a little bit of like
Uh huh.
chosen pain. But I'm like, the idea of that, like, okay, I get it. But other than that, I'm like, to just tattoo yourself, especially for a beginner, it's like, cool,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. Now I just like turned my thigh into
And you're like,
shit.
that's
And
what you're like. Okay, you show you take out your flip phone, you take a picture, and you text it to all your friends, and you're like, guys, I'm ready to go.
yeah.
Like that's oh
And
man.
and then I think just after that, it was just, obviously tattoo a bunch of friends, tattoo all the
Yeah,
boys,
yeah.
fill them up with, I never actually did. I mean, I'm sure someone out there might be like, bullshit, but like, I never really did any like bad tattoos.
Did you start tattooing in Canada or in
Yeah.
California? In
No,
Canada?
no. Yeah. Since I've been in California, I've tattooed my wife a couple times,
Hmm.
little funny, stupid tattoos or whatever. But no, I haven't actually, uh, dove in
When you
and
have some flash sheets too. I've seen those.
yeah,
Like
I actually unearthed, I think the ones you're talking about, I unearthed a bunch recently. And so I posted them on my Instagram just to share them.
yeah,
But
the hockey ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've done a couple hockey flash sheets. And no, as far as flash goes, like, I don't know if I would ever actually tattoo again. Like, I mean, I won't ever sit here and say I'll never tattoo anything again, but I don't know if I would ever actually like work in a shop again and want to commit myself like
Uh-huh.
that. Doing stupid stuff for sure, but uh, painting flash has always been. I haven't done it in a while. I have to admit, but painting flash has been always been something that I just love it.
Hmm.
Just make a nice, just get a nice, piece of cold pressed arches and just sit there and just geek out on doing a bunch of nice clean outlines for a while and then watercolor everything. And it's great. I love it.
I I like it, but I do not like it when you're almost done with one and you mess something up with and
Yeah.
the watercolor runs and you're like, oh, just making some splatter marks and
Yeah, that's where just doing the old Bob Ross in it comes into play.
that's
All
it.
right, well, I guess we're changing
Yeah,
the background, or we're
yeah,
adding a background now,
yeah.
or yeah,
So
we're
you cut them out individually, and then you put them all on one piece of paper afterwards.
yeah, something
Yeah,
like that. Do the cookie
yeah.
cutter, yeah, the pork chop style. Um, Luckily, knock on wood, I never really had that happen to me too much. I think I'm just too like tedious with what I'm doing. Like, I'd always make sure to keep all my watercolors just like well away from the piece that I'm working on, and just avoid trying to like shake my brush off anywhere near it so I'm not getting splashes on it and stuff.
Well,
So
that these pieces. So I have a couple of your stickers, of
mhm.
course. Um, so like these here, did you? I know this one's a cutout, but did you for your stickers here?
Mhm.
Did you do? Are these all? Did you do all drawings first, or and take photo like scan them in? Sorry, or are these actual cutouts that you took photos of and then
so
had them turned
s-
into stickers?
so some of them
Like
So
This one is one of my favorites, and I is this the one that Rose has?
yes,
This
Rose
is
Rose owns that physical piece of artwork,
yes, this
and
van cutout. If you guys are listening to the podcast, uh, is this one on your Instagram page?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. So check out CitySlicker on Instagram so you can see how big this van cutout is. Yeah, I think Rose has this one.
Yep.
Um,
So that one, and then a couple of the other stickers you just held up to your screen there. That one, it was done just. I think we just scanned in the
the
drawing
photo.
from the
So
flash sheet.
yeah, the one I'm holding up is an awesome wizard. And this one was a cutout, correct?
Yes, and
This
that
weirdo with
one,
a helmet.
I believe El Bomo in Texas
Yes,
has that one.
yes.
Yes. So the only reason why some of those ones we kind of cheated, and the sticker itself is not like a digital format, and it's just from the like a photograph of the actual piece of artwork, was just time constraints before shows,
Hmm.
running late, realizing, we've got a show in 2 weeks and we don't have any stickers.
Uh,
I have this couple pieces of artwork sitting around, or I have a photograph of the like a frontal, view photo of it, just on my phone. So send it to the printer guys, and then or send it to the sticker guys, and then they'd be able to just put that in their program, and they just kind of.
so I was always curious about that. So the work on these is it usually it's on their end. You send them the photo,
Yeah. We do
they cut
like,
everything out.
yeah, for that it's great. I'll just send them a photograph of the artwork, and then I don't know what they do, some sort of wizardry,
Hmm.
and they just make it a sticker, and then they're like, oh, we altered this a little bit just because the color wasn't shining through the right way, and
Hmm.
okay, sure thing, guys.
And
And then the
yeah, but
stickers always show up, and they're amazing.
that's what I've always been curious about, how the sticker game and how this
Hmm.
works and how this is done. Uh,
Shout out to Rebel Reprints on Instagram.
that's who does all your stickers.
Yeah, Rebel Reprints out of I think they're in Orlando, Florida,
I'll have to check them
or
out.
somewhere in Florida. And yeah, those guys. It's a small tattooer run sticker company. And there's 8 zillion
Hmm.
sticker companies out there, but when we can, my wife and I, anytime we're outsourcing anything, we try to keep it. If we can't keep it local, we
Hmm.
try to at least. And in that case, we're getting our stickers from the other side of the country.
Yeah, it's like
But
you're supporting
we try to
small
support
businesses.
smaller business.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and
if
that's
I know
another
that
thing. I've
it's
noticed a lot of a lot of us try to help out each other, uh,
yeah, it's a
and buy
wonderful
and
community.
try to buy art off each other and art trades
Hmm.
uh like I ended up buying this. I got this one off of you, and we did a trade on stuff, and it's just cool to get packages in the mail. But that's the other thing. Like I've noticed, a lot of us buy from each other.
Yeah, it's great. I've got,
I don't know
there's been.
why, like what it is. I mean, we love each other's work and everything, but this community really helps each other out.
Hmm. It's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love it.
Something I don't know if a lot of people know. Something else that you're known for is impressions.
Oh God.
Uh, uh, you're pretty famous for Macho Man impressions. It's
Yeah,
true. It's true.
I haven't done that
Yeah.
one in a little while. I actually, since the last Brush Masters, I haven't really done that
Uh,
one too often because, um,
People mistake they might not see you and they actually think it's Macho Man.
yeah, I had a couple. I'll keep it polite, but I had a couple people just kind of ask me to do the impression a few too many times
And
over
see,
the course of a weekend, and it kind of wore me dry a little bit. But I think maybe at some point while we're chatting, Randy might come out for
they
a moment.
might show up.
Randy might
Uh,
come out for a moment. So, um, yeah, the wrestling stuff, the impression, that's weird. That's something I'm an idiot. I've my whole life I've always just impersonated people. I'll hear someone just usually, when folks have like an odd speech cadence, or if they have like an odd accent, most people think especially since moving to California, I'm the guy with the accent. Anytime I say a or
Hey.
about,
Uh-huh.
yeah, everybody, I could talk to someone for 20 minutes and then I'll just say one word and then they just stop. Hold on, what did
Yeah.
you just say? And I'm,
Like,
oh, what did I say? And
where are
they're
you
like,
from?
where are you from?
Yeah.
But oddly, I will have people, a lot of people won't even think it's Canada. A lot of people ask me if I'm from like the Dakotas or like
That
Wisconsin.
yeah.
They'll think I'm, they'll say, hey, you from, South Dakota, eh? No.
You are you're a Packers fan, right?
Yes. I won't go as far to say like I'm not a diehard fan. I think I'm just like, I guess by proxy, I'm a Packer fan.
Yep.
Growing up, everyone in my family, my dad was a huge Packers fan. My twin brother still is like a huge Packers fan. All my buddies, they were all into Green Bay. So yeah, no, if I am rooting for a team in
It's
football, I'll definitely say I'm a cheesehead for sure.
oh no.
But I don't watch a lot of football. Last year I went down to Los Angeles. Actually, my brother and two or three of our good friends, they actually flew out for a weekend, and we had a boys' weekend down in LA. And we went. We saw first we went to a Stanford game, which was actually pretty cool, and then we watched the Packers play the LA Rams. That was actually a
See,
really good game.
for me,
Tickets were so goddamn
yeah,
expensive though. That
I
was
can't
terrible.
watch it. I can't
Oh, it
watch
was
it.
horrible.
I can't watch it on TV. I don't have the attention span to watch any sports.
Yeah, I'm like that a lot as well.
If it was in person, I think it's the experience of everybody there and that huge screen that sits in front of you will probably
Hmm.
keep my attention. I just don't have the attention span to keep it. I get bored very, very easy.
Yep, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone can watch golf or tennis or uh, it's kind of, I mean, shit, the list goes on. Um, Growing up for me, I've always played sports. I played hockey for 20 plus years growing up, and baseball, and played football in high school, and all the other skateboarding and snowboarding and all kinds of shit. But
That's something I noticed too. Like, a lot of creatives are, I mean, are kind of the same way. Not a lot of, I've seen a lot of people are focused on, what they really, really love to do. And they
mhm,
put all that into, whatever that is, whatever they're working on, they put all that into that. They don't really have any other distractions.
yeah, it's amazing the way some of
Yeah.
that stuff goes.
Yeah.
I love seeing, and I think, I mean, if we're talking about just art stuff, I think absolutely everyone has it in them. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I can't even draw a stick figure," and I'm like, "Give me an hour, and I'll have you drawing something for sure." A lot of people they'll set those roadblocks on themselves, especially when it comes to creative stuff, because they like
Mhm.
you get the people that it's not manly, you know, to paint something, let alone paint something like you're painting with a pink line. Yeah, I am. I'm loving every second of it.
Those are the same people they're like, ask you to do something for them for free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody gets that, but depends on who it is and what it is
Yeah.
they're asking for and what you're doing. Because you know, you ask, you go into a grocery store and ask for something for free or you get a discount on it because you
Yeah.
just know the manager. Like they're probably gonna be like, "Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't help you with that. I'm
Exactly.
sorry." So,
Well, do you have any shows? I mean, given what's going on, any shows
we
that that'll be coming up, or lined up, in the future that you guys will be going to?
well, again with all the COVID stuff. So
Hmm.
this year we were slotted. Um, we were gonna do Born Free and Chopper Fest in Ventura. Great show. Um, we were gonna do the Ventura Nationals. We were gonna do a couple smaller ones. We did a show last year. I think it was only the second year that they actually did the show, the Roland Sands show. We did that down in Huntington Beach
Hmm.
with Corey
Yeah.
and Mr. Oz and Tank.
Tank. Yes. He's gonna be
And
on.
yeah, no, and that was
Yeah.
you know what, the four of us, because it was Corey, Tank, Gina, and myself.
Hmm.
We had a blast down there. A little different crowd because it was more like race bike,
Hmm.
moto stuff. It wasn't as much like there wasn't really any like choppers there, or just old school bikes or anything like that. So, but oddly enough, we all did really well at the show. We all sold a whole bunch of artwork, and shit, we had a great time. It was beautiful, beautiful weekend. They had all kinds of races going on, and we were
Hmm.
right beside. They had one of those big, like a drop-in ramp with a couple huge like launch ramps that had. They had a big, I don't know what you call them, those big blow-up safety landing pad
Yeah.
pillow
Yep.
things, whatever. They had
Hmm.
a big thing like that set up. Dudes were just flying off that thing, just flipping their bikes, doing all. They didn't even care if they landed or not, because they obviously
Yeah.
they're not gonna get hurt landing on that big pad. But that was like right beside where we were all set up, and yeah, that was a really good show. But to double back there, I know that everything for obviously 2020 is. I mean, we're almost at the end of the year now, but for 2021, I don't know. Like once all the COVID stuff
Yeah.
hopefully phases out, hopefully we can start getting back into a normal show schedule. Because yeah, like it's funny, more than anything, I just miss just the opportunity to see everyone,
Uh huh.
just going to shows, just seeing friends and new and old ones alike. It's just shows are they're such a good time, even if the actual show isn't the best show that's being thrown.
You're still there. You get to hang out.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
just getting out there, seeing people. Like I know that I feel like everybody out there that's listening can definitely relate to that right now. That we just, I understand with the safety, and hopefully we can just like legitimately, like worldwide, hopefully we can just tackle this whole thing
Hmm.
so we can start. And I don't want to say go back to normal, because like so many shitty things that in society that we should be
Yeah.
looking to change. And with having now,
Hmm.
we're almost in a full year of of
Oh yeah.
life with COVID, right? So I think a lot of people are starting to see, or like starting to realize things, like small things that we all miss.
Hmm.
Giving
That's
somebody a hug.
yeah. And that's why I use this. To give us a chance to give it to see each other, to
Yeah,
talk to each other, but let others hear and get maybe other people interested in what you do. But I think it'd be cool. I brought this up a while ago, but to use this to do a panel jam, a live panel jam.
oh, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
I can
Count
send
me
this
in.
out. Yeah, I can send this out. I think we could do up to 10 people
Okay.
and do a live panel jam and throw this out there. And I think it'd be something cool. Give us something to do, give people something to watch.
Yeah,
Um, but I
I
think
would totally be
also
into that.
open this up. Because I can pull 10 people in on this
Hmm.
and give 10 people the opportunity to speak to somebody. Someone that they don't think they can openly talk to or ask a question.
Someone that they
But
think otherwise might be inaccessible.
correct,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and give people that opportunity to learn. Like, hey, here, like, hey, today this is what we're gonna do. This, and all you need to do is have a pencil and paper,
Yeah.
and that's it. And just learn some, like what you did with me, like just sketching out designs, like pinstriping designs, um, and how much that helped by just going through those motions on paper, those basic motions. And now I have a sketchbook with designs in them that, like, oh man, what am I going to paint? Well, let me see. Let's look here.
And
You know,
those sketchbooks will only get bigger and bigger, and
yeah,
more style and more variation will come with it over time, and then
Mhm.
you're it's like you're building yourself your own like blueprint for how to
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah. And I just want to, be able to share that with people. The questions that I've asked, everybody
Hmm.
that does this, um, but, my way, giving that to other people. Like, hey, this is what I've learned. This is what works for me.
Hmm.
Might not necessarily work for you, but this is how I do it. But this is how I was taught. But I think it'd be cool to bring, eight, 10 people on and
I say do it.
yeah, hey, you got a brush? This is like, go get this brush. Go get this. Go get this
Yeah, yeah,
test. Go get this tester's enamel. No,
yeah. Right.
yeah, you know, get a small can of a small can of one shot and a brush and some mineral spirits and
Well, and I think
let's
there's, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's like a couple of those different new paint companies. Like, I mean, even currently, like right now, being before Christmas, I'm almost certain there's all kinds of different kits that
yeah
you can
and
get.
deals out there. Yeah,
Yeah, and like
definitely.
Christmas
Yep.
holiday bundles,
Yeah.
you come, 2, 3 colors of paint, and a couple brushes, and then the wipeout tool or something. Or
Yeah, I think that we'll do that. I'll put something together, um, and we can throw a panel jam.
I think you should.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, sign me up. I'm in.
I'm actually signing you up. Right, I'm putting your name down right now.
Good.
I am.
Get me locked in.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you down. You're good. So yeah, this I appreciate you doing this and talking with me and letting people hear a little bit about your story and where you came from and you know how you do things and how you operate. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I mean I know just because over the years
yeah,
we're talking about I'm an open book because half the time even just talking to someone else, like if someone asks me a question like, hey Dave, do you know how to do this? And then if I do know, yeah, sure, of course I'll tell them. But half the time I end up learning something along with
yeah,
it. They end up in turn telling me some cool little trick that they're like, I may not know what the thing that you're showing me, but hey, have you ever seen this before? And then I'm
uh,
like, damn it, I awesome.
definitely.
2 points for the
Um,
good guy. Yeah, we know we both learned something today. It's
it, it and that's like going to going to where we going to that Brushmasters again. It was like one thing that I learned a lot, but it was like the one thing that I needed to be there with other people, and all it was how I was putting that brush down.
Mhm.
That's all it was. Something so simple on how I was pushing that brush down,
Right.
and learning a different way of doing it opened up more possibilities for me to do different things, and all it was just how I sat my brush down when I was
Hmm.
going to paint.
Yeah, it's like the tiniest little things,
Yeah,
little corrections here and there, and then you're like, it makes a world of a difference.
and yeah, and just giving that to this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for any and all events in the future. It'd be really cool to get some more throughout the country, to get some more like kind of bigger paint events. I know there's a few,
Mm-hmm.
pretty big paint events that happen, but some of them seem like I know a couple of them are like invite only,
Mm-hmm.
and then a couple of them are, they can get kind of clicky.
And that's what I was working
And that's
on
okay.
to do
There's nothing
that
wrong with
here,
that.
in Ohio, and get a and just for fun, get a bunch of people together who who like to do this, and other people who want to learn and just have fun for a weekend,
Hmm.
and that was the plan. And I was working with some people on that, so hopefully maybe next year, but definitely we're gonna do this panel jam here. I'm
Let's
gonna
do
get
it.
that set up and start making some phone calls and get that set up for us.
Yeah, I can also. I'll ask them. I can throw out the word to a few people.
Yeah,
See if anybody else wants to get in on that with us.
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I,
I,
I'll go
I
ahead.
think What's that?
I said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that'd be great, and yeah, I definitely think that if we can wrangle a few more people together,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And yeah, I'll get with you on that. So everybody else who is going to listen to this or watching,
Hmm.
um, you know, keep an eye out. We are going to do a panel jam. We're gonna have 10 of us
Awesome.
going out. Yeah, it's I like I said, I already penciled your name in, so you have to do it now.
Yeah, and you should tell anyone listening, if you want to get involved in it, don't hesitate. Don't be shy.
Yeah, reach
We
out.
don't we
You
don't
know,
bite.
no, reach out to feel free to shoot me a message. Uh, multiple places, Instagram and Facebook, YouTube. It's all Artists of the Goods podcast. Also, Johnny Walker Art on both of those uh, platforms. Um, check out CitySlicker
Yes.
at Instagram.
Yeah, mine's just CitySlicker pinstriping. You can find me on. I think yeah, I'm all I have is Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have
No,
a.
neither. Yeah.
I don't have anything like that. But yeah, I'm accessible. All you got to do is holler at me.
And are you taking on commissions or anything right now?
Uh, I am, but I admit I'm being a little bit selective right now as to what I take on, just because I do, for the last 4 or 5 years, all I did was full time artwork.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had just I had a day job opportunity that just kind of fell into my lap that
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit too good to to not entertain the idea
Uh-huh.
of taking it, and also being an adult, having a wife and kids, sometimes we have to make
Yeah.
those adult decisions. But no, I was actually, when I first took the job on, I've been doing it for about a year and a half now. When I first took it on, I definitely went through kind of a loser denial phase where I kind of was beating myself up that I was like, I'm spent so long in my life working towards doing artwork full
Uh-huh.
time, and then now I'm here, and then I'm going to step back and step away from it full time just to make money. Like, that's crazy. But no, it's actually been good because just provided that I get up every day and go to
Yeah.
work, I've got a paycheck coming in every week, which is
Mm-hmm.
and a nice size paycheck, and then when I'm doing artwork, I can kind of focus more on stuff that I want to
Mm-hmm.
do, as opposed to things that I need to do because it's already in the books, like with a commission.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think it goes to show uh, when we have a lot of friends who do art for a living, that that old that old way of thinking, like, oh, you go to art school or you do this, you can't do anything and you'll never make it, and it
yeah,
just goes to show you can do it. For everybody who has doubts, I mean, we know a lot of people, including you, Dave, that like this you do for a living, and you're able
hmm,
to pay your bills and do it. And that was a big misconception, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that you couldn't, if you chose the art path, then like you weren't going to have anything.
yeah, you're gonna be a beatnik loser. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's actually amazing. Like, and same thing like with my wife. Like, she's a little bit different for her, but she's a full time tattoo artist. And I mean, I watch how hard that lady works, and so she definitely earns every
Yeah.
all the money that
And
she
she's
makes. But
she's been doing some amazing skate decks too. All like the stuff she's been doing other than tattooing also.
yeah, her
Uh
wood burning skills are through the roof.
yes. Yes.
Yeah, she's again, me being lucky enough to get to sit beside her and watch her do it at nighttime when she gets home from work, like, it's just incredible. She's so good, and the way I've found the last while, the way she's like kind of really getting into her stride. Like, she's really
Mm-hmm.
working with like the piece, whatever the piece of wood is
Uh-huh.
that she's working with. She's really like, the imagery that she's adding to it totally is like complementing whatever. It's not just a thing burned on a piece of wood where you're like, that's cool.
Uh, well,
Like
if
they
anybody's
actually,
listening, do you want to? You want to give her a plug,
oh,
so
absolutely.
people can
Yeah.
check out her, check out her artwork.
Yeah, my wife, her name Gina Jane. Her Instagram is Gina Jane Tattoos. Definitely check her out. She's here with us on San Luis Obispo in the Central Coast of California. She works at Traditional Tattoo full time. Her artwork is incredible. If you ever find yourself on the Central Coast and you want some incredibly clean lines tattooed on your skin, yeah, I would say look no further. She's amazing.
She did one on my forearm.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Mac brush
Yep.
on by from her.
That was in. Was that in?
That was in
That
Kentucky.
was in Kentucky. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because she tattooed in Colorado as well when we were
Oh,
there for
nice.
Brushmasters. Yeah. Who did she tattooed Taylor
Okay, yeah.
Top Shelf
From Top
and
Shelf, yeah.
um there was a few people that she tattooed. I think she tattooed. Oh yeah, Ashley from Restless Roots Signs. She tattooed her at Brushmasters in Colorado. I think she tattooed Corey as well, but I'm not 100% on that one. Don't quote me, but I think she might have.
So that's what everybody needs to do. If you're interested in this, check out Brushmasters so you can learn some nice, sweet tricks and secrets and meet a bunch of people and get tattooed.
Yep. It's an all-inclusive event. It's great.
Definitely.
It's like a one-stop shop for like everything. Like,
I think a lot of us look forward to it. Like that's I get super excited. Like, oh, I did the Brushmasters in Cincinnati, a small get together with Corey, Big Me's, and I met a bunch of people there. There are people flying in, for like a day from North Carolina, just to start pinstriping.
yeah. When we were in, I think it was in Kentucky. Like there was a couple that was there from Dubai.
Yes. Yep.
There was a couple that was there. I want to say there was a couple that was there from like Scotland, Ireland, maybe.
I remember there was a couple from Dubai.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. Yep. I'm like, wow, like shit, you guys came all the way over here just to get down with all of us degenerates.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was great.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I really enjoy those events. Honestly, like I'll keep going to them. Just to shit. Even if I don't have my paintbrushes with me, I'll just borrow a brush from someone and then just paint with friends. Just
show open the Thunder Pig.
Yep. Come in the Thunder Pig and just have a weekend of painting.
Exactly.
So good.
Like I said, I appreciate you doing this with me. Like I said, I was really excited. I wanted you to be the first person, since you were the one that got me pretty much going in this kind of stuff.
That's awesome, Johnny.
You've always been helpful. So no, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother.
And doing this panel jam. So yeah, everybody check out CitySlicker pinstriping on Instagram. Message him, buy art, hit him up, hit his wife up for tattoos. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Like I said, YouTube, Artists of the Goods podcast. Also on Anchor. It's going to push it out to Apple, Spotify, Google. So there's going to be multiple platforms you could listen to this. Also watch the videos live. Cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome, Johnny.
I'll talk to you soon.
Johnny, you are world class, my friend.
No, thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. See ya.
All right. Bye.